Welcome, fellow mortals, to Immortal Issues, where we will be talking about gods, monsters, and myths from all around the world. My name's Alec. That's Charlie. Charlie, introduce yourself.
Hello, it's me.
Great. This guy is going to be teaching me all about mythology, gods, Greek, Hindu, whatever we come across. We're sticking on Greek for now. Speaking of today's topic, we're starting out big head honcho. I know he is the lightning god himself. Other than that, the best I know is he can't keep it in his pants. We're starting out with Zeus, the father that fathered all.
Well, quite the introduction for really a small god, if we're being honest. Like, really just not that important. Nobody of real note.
I've heard
And honestly...
that he just really enjoys small gatherings of small people, really. It's his favorite thing.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And actually, despite knowing quite a bit about at least the surface of Greek mythology, I did learn quite a bit about Mr. Zeus himself during this research session, and I had some fun with it. So I'm excited to talk about him.
Great. I'm not the only one that was completely in the dark. That's great news to my small mortal heart.
Well, honestly, I think that I feel like everybody knows like the basic stuff, but I think the thing that I learned that was like more the deep dive, the craziness of the myths, that was the part that like really hit me. Mm-hmm. Like we'll talk about some stuff, but Zeus got a little wild. He got a little crazy.
Wild, a little crazy, a little wild in the sky.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get right into it. We got like 30 to 45 minutes to try and get this done, and I have like 3 full pages of notes. So, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I am ready to be informed on the first god that we're going to be covering it.
All right, awesome. So, Mr. Zeus himself is his title is the chief deity of the Greek pantheon, king of Mount Olympus, and father of all gods and humans. So, kind of interesting here, because despite being the father of gods and humans, he's actually the youngest of his siblings. Really? Something I didn't know. Yeah. So, when Zeus was born to his parents, Cronus or Kronos, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's actually Kronos is spelt 2 separate ways. Both are the same person. And then there's Kronos, the god of time, so don't get them confused.
Okay, see that's where my confusion always starts. Whenever we're talking about the big man who birthed the Zeus, I'm like, oh, Cronus? And then I was like, no, it's Kronos. No, that's the god of time. And they're like, no, that's the man. That just always dives into a lot of just horrible things, but go on.
Kronos, Chronos, gosh, that was hard, is the god of time. Cronus, Cronus, or Kronos, Kronos, same person, is the king of the Titans. Zeus's dad. So.
Pick a name, man. Just be a Titan and pick a name.
No, he wants all of them. That's part of the problem here. We'll talk about it. It's fine. Okay, so Zeus is the god of thunder and lightning, rain and winds, and the sky. So we'll talk a little bit more how about he got that name in a little bit, but for right now, that's where we stand. The root of Zeus's name is actually shared with a Hindu god called Deus, which is also the god of the sky in the Hindu religion. But from what I was looking up, I couldn't really find where the name came from originally. It was just kind of part of the history. So maybe I need to look harder next time.
I mean, well, certain sources may have been corroborated incorrectly, but we don't really know. I mean, this isn't going to be the most accurate thing in the world, but
yeah, as one of our favorite podcasts says, entertainment over accuracy.
Yeah, those are the words that fit together to make a sentence.
Yeah. All right, but regardless, I am going to try and make it as accurate as I possibly can. Okay, so Zeus's parents, Cronus, the king of the Titans, and his mother Rhea was the Titan of fruitfulness. So like basically having kids.
Damn.
But
took after his mom there.
Oh, you don't even know the half of it. Rhea and Cronus were siblings, just like Zeus and Hera.
Ah, it's fine. It's fine. They were Greek.
No,
It's fine.
it's all good. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Zeus's symbols are the lightning bolt and the eagle. I know you were surprised about the lightning bolt, but the eagle is something I've seen. Like, I saw it in like books and things like that, but I didn't actually know that was his official symbol. So cool to know.
Didn't know that. I had no idea that he had a bird symbolizing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The origin of this myth is Cretan or Cretan. I'm going to mispronounce everything here. It's all Greek or ancient Greek, so I apologize in advance.
This guy's not a linguist. Can't believe
it. Okay. Leave me alone. I'm doing my best here. So Cretan means the island of Crete, okay? It was later adopted by post-Hellenic Greek cultures, and just because I wanted to use the word post-Hellenic, it just means the Greek cultures after they were united by Alexander the Great.
Oh.
But it makes me sound really smart, so I obviously had to put that in.
Got 1 to IQ. Great.
Yep. Zeus rules the sky and the heavens. He's the ruler of Mount Olympus, so basically he is king. Not basically, he is king, but, that's kind of his official title. Zeus basically started out day one being a complete and total a-hole. Like, just literally from the minute he was born, was set up for failure by his parents and did nothing to stop the cycle.
Oh, man.
Yes.
It really should have birthed a god of therapy, honestly. I feel like it might have helped a lot of people.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about where Zeus came from. So I feel like everybody knows. Like, what do you know about the origin of Zeus? If I ask you where he came from, what are you going to say?
Like Google Maps or just like in general?
Like, tell me what you know about his birthing.
Okay. All right. So I know that actually, you know what? I pretty much only know what you've already said, that his father was Cronus. Everything else beyond that is just like, I know. Well, God, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I knew a little bit more than that. So the short story is that basically Zeus's dad, the Titan, was like, man, these kids are going to rise up and kill me, and so I have to eat them. That's the only way to solve this problem. And his wife was like, nah, fam. And was like, we're gonna stop doing that. And so she ran away with Zeus. That was what I knew.
I didn't even know that much.
Yeah. It gets a little crazy. So basically, what happened is that Zeus was born, I could be wrong on this, 7th out of his siblings, okay? And his siblings, like Poseidon, Hades, Hera, missing the last two. I think Demeter was one of them. But basically his siblings. All the gods that are in the pantheon that he didn't give birth to or participate in the birth. Pause.
Yeah,
Pause.
No, yeah. We'll surf over that.
So Zeus basically was born 7th of his siblings, or 6th, I remember. He was the last one, okay? Now, Kronos and his wife were just, having kids, populating the earth, doing their thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is what I didn't know, is that the story of Zeus is the same as the story of Kronos to his dad. And this is where it gets a little wild. So, when Uranus, the sky god, like literally basically the sky, gave birth to Kronos, Zeus's dad. He had a prophecy. There's a lot of different ways that they claim that he found this out, but basically that his son, one of his sons, would rise up and kill him. And basically, gods, titans, whatever, can't die, but basically take over right, as the ruler of the cosmos. And so he tried to kill Kronos. Gaia, Earth, his mom, did the same thing and protected Kronos. And then later, Kronos came to his mom and was like, hey, I want to kill dad. And his mom was like, oh, perfect. Your dad was just about to stop by for a booty call. Literally, Uranus was about to stop by Gaia's separate apartment, I guess, and, talk to her.
This was going to make a pass by in the cosmos like, hey, baby, I'm on my way to Jupiter.
My parents aren't home. Come see what's going on. And she was like... And she was like, hey, Kronos, if you really want to kill your dad, because, obviously she's down to get banged, but also wants to kill him, was like, hide in the corner, and then when your dad gets here, kill him. And Kronos was like, sick. So he hides in the corner. Uranus stops by and proceeds to start banging his mom. And of course, Kronos is like, perfect opportunity. And so I don't know, it wasn't very clear if it was like right before he participated in the act or right like during. Wasn't sure. Kronos gets up and has this big, it's called a silver gray steel scythe is his weapon of choice.
Oh, what an edgelord.
You have no idea.
Oh god.
He gets up and he cuts off his dad's penis, just chops that thing off, which falls in the ocean. And there are some versions of the myth where that actually became Aphrodite.
Okay, this is this mythology is a lot wilder than I thought it was.
But like way later, because obviously Aphrodite is technically Zeus's kid.
Yeah.
So like we're like 3 generations behind that.
Zeus, what did you do with his penis? Sorry.
So anyways, cuts it off and then basically kills his dad and goes on his merry way. Now Kronos is king. His mom, he lets his mom live, obviously, and he's just chilling. Takes his Rhea, his sister, as his wife, and they start having babies. Fast forward, however amount of time, these myths aren't exactly great with their timing, so could have been several millennia, could have been days, not really sure. So Kronos and Rhea are doing their thing, having their kids. Then Uranus and Gaia, both actually, because remember, gods, titans, earth in the sky don't die. They just kind of like disappear for a little while and come back. But they, for whatever reason, still respect that Kronos is now in charge.
I mean,
Whatever.
you get killed once. It's just like, I don't feel like it anymore.
I guess. They whisper to their son that one of his kids is going to do the same thing, rise up and kill Kronos and take over. So that's when he starts gobbling them up. He starts eating his kids. Yeah. He gets through 6 kids before his wife's like, maybe I don't like this. So she takes Zeus, the last kid, and she hides him in a cave. Okay. And she gives her husband a rock covered in a swaddling blanket, and he eats it and fully believes it's Zeus. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Kronos was now satisfied that his position was safe, and that is when Rhea went and really was like, okay, I don't need to figure out what to do with this kid. And it says in the myth that he was nursed by either. So he basically, Rhea goes into this cave on Mount Dict. I could not tell you what it actually is pronounced. It's Dicte. Diked.
Zeus was he was influenced from all over the place just to keep doing what he was doing. Maybe he's not a bad guy. He's a victim.
I was having similar thoughts, but then later I was like, oh, okay, no, he's still the bad guy. He just had a bad start, but who has a good one? So, anyways, he's in this cave on the mountain, and the myths are not clear as to whether it was a nymph, which is like a minor nature spirit, or a who was feeding him goat's milk. Some versions of the myth say it was an actual goat, like his mom gave him to an actual female goat who nursed him with her own milk.
I mean,
you know,
good for the goat.
Yeah,
he's got to be pretty good. Pension.
Pretty much, yeah. In this cave, Zeus and the goat were just chilling, I guess, and Rhea put her guards, her personal guards, outside, which were called Curites, and basically in Greek that means young warriors. However, depending on which myth you read, it was either a tribe of men that lived on the island of Crete that worshipped Rhea, or it was actually minor gods that somehow existed, or like spirits that like served her.
Okay.
So they were standing guard, and actually, to make sure that Zeus would be safe, whenever baby Zeus would start crying, they would actually clash their weapons to pretend that they were fighting, so to conceal the cries of Zeus so Cronus wouldn't hear him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's something I did not know. When Zeus reached adulthood, he led a rebellion with his siblings and other powerful allies against his father and the rest of the Titans, and basically killed them and took over. But again, kill is a strong word. There is a whole other thing called the Titanomachy. Hard to pronounce again. But that's basically the war where Zeus and the gods fight the Titans. And it's 10 years. So I figure we could probably cover that in a whole separate episode. So I didn't talk too much about it.
Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah. We'll talk about it a little bit because there's some stuff in it that like is important for Zeus. But like I'm not going to go too much in.
I have a Titan question.
Okay, tell me.
Titan question. Did Zeus kill his mom?
No. So he allowed his mom to live.
Okay, great. Good. I was going to be like, what? No.
Yeah, his mom was on his side.
Oh, okay, cool. Great.
It was, so it's like, when I say the other Titans, it's not actually every other Titan, because, so I didn't know this either, but Zeus actually had 7 wives. Not at the same time, but like he had one wife, then he's like,
oh.
Yeah. So in his Zeusness, he had 7 wives. His first wife was his aunt, who is also a Titan.
Okay,
so like, not all Titans were against the Titans, or were against the gods.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I could see how you would think that. I thought similar thing. I was a little confused.
Yeah.
So yes, his mom survives.
Great. Good lady thing.
Yes.
Creature.
The last thing I will tell you about the origin of Zeus is basically when Zeus finally did face down his father, there is one of 2 things that happened. Okay. Depending on which version you're reading, there is a couple different ways this plays out.
Okay.
The most popular one from what I can find is that Metis, his first wife, his aunt, tells him a recipe for a solution that basically makes Kronos fall asleep.
Okay.
But before falling asleep, it also makes him vomit all of his siblings so that he can then use them against him in the war.
Okay, cool.
Then after Kronos falls asleep, Zeus picks up the gray steel sickle, or scythe, whatever, and wants to basically kill his dad. But because he's not Kronos, he doesn't have the strength to use it, which is why the Titanomachy happens, because he lets his dad live.
Oh, okay. All right. He had a method to kill. It was his intent. He just couldn't lift the weapon.
That's a yes and no. I mean, I guess he's just, weak, but I don't know if it was physically that he couldn't lift it, or like he didn't have the strength as in like, God shenanigans where he didn't reach the level, didn't have enough XP. I don't know.
That's a level 190 weapon. You're level 150. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but yes, for some reason he was not able to wield it. So,
Okay.
so that's basically all of Zeus's, a very simplified version of Zeus's birthing and upbringing.
Okay. All right.
Questions, comments, concerns.
Honestly, that was more than I thought it was. I really just thought, like I said, when what I knew, all I knew is Zeus came from Titans and he killed his dad. That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't even question really where the rest of the gods came from. I was like, oh, there's brothers. They were always there. What were they doing?
Yeah.
I don't care.
It was also confusing for me because I was like, wait, he ate him. How were the other gods helping in this fight? But then I remembered that we're talking about gods and they do whatever they feel like it. So,
Yeah. Like they were, they obviously wanted, as babies to be eaten. They were just like, oh, dad's eating me. This must be for a reason. And
yeah, I
go.
also down the hatch. I
Even
also
more.
didn't realize that Zeus was a baby. Like, I know that sounds silly, but for whatever reason in my head, I just always pictured Zeus being born and doing all this as a full-grown adult.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. Like, it never really crossed my mind that all of these gods would be babies, and if they were babies, it would just be an image of like a tiny, tiny little toddler with a giant flowing beard and locks.
So basically just Zeus, but like a foot tall.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And his little freaking shaker thing is just lightning bolt shaped. That's all I could ever imagine.
That is 100% something we have to commission and get changed as our profile picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Baby Zeus with a full beard. Just the better version of our current picture.
It is the better version.
Okay. Getting back on track.
Right, of course.
Yes. Come on, Alec. We're running out of time here.
Just like Cronus' kids in his digestive tract. Anyway, go ahead.
Stop. By that same logic, Zeus just could have waited until he took a dump, and then his siblings would have been totally fine.
True. That's true. Maybe. I don't think so. Anyways,
moving on to the cool stuff. So, let's talk about Zeus's weapon. So,
Good.
I think literally everyone knows what Zeus's weapon is. The lightning bolt. Okay?
Right.
Now, the cool thing about the lightning bolt is it's by far the most confusing thing I've ever had to do research on in my entire life. Because it's described in so many different ways, and no one even knows what it is. And like, obviously, like, it's a mythical weapon. So like, I'm not saying that like we should know what it's made out of and this is like a recipe. That's not what I'm saying. But like, there's literally, I would say half the people are like, no, it's like you throw it, it explodes, and then it reforms in Zeus's hand. Boom. And then the other half of the people are like, no, I think he has to have like 10 of them in a sack, and he has to throw them, and once they're gone, they just explode and they're done.
Actually, you know what? Okay, so I've seen like two depictions. Yeah, I've seen both actually. Like, there's one. So okay, not to be film nerd or anything. But in Hercules, Disney Hercules, that's still a depiction of Zeus. And if I remember right, in the movie, Zeus has to be given his lightning bolts back to be powerful again. At the end when they're fighting the Titans or whatever.
I do remember the sack. Yes, the sack of lightning bolts.
Yeah, and I think there was a theory. Like I said, this is not based off of fact. This is all based off of what I remember.
No. The Disney version of this story is 100% accurate.
Yeah, of course. Hercules.
That's where I did my research from. You weren't just reading that script?
No, I mean, I had assumed, like, it's
okay.
like the B-movie script that you just copy and pasted it into this. But, like...
Yeah, I'm literally just watching the movie as we're talking. You could never trust me to read anything. It would never happen.
But yeah, okay, so there was, I thought, like, it was Hephaestus, right? Whoever, I barely even know whoever that is, made his bolts for him. That was something that I remember.
Yeah, so, I didn't see that, but again, I wasn't researching Hephaestus.
Okay, well, yeah.
But I also thought that. But that could be just because in the Percy Jackson books, that's how they depict it.
See, I've never read Percy Jackson. I've seen the movie, though.
The books are incredible, in my opinion, when I was 12 years old. Also, in the book, I can't remember if he steals the lightning bolt or a lightning bolt, but the whole reason that the book exists, like happens, is because someone steals Zeus's lightning bolt. And that doesn't take away his powers, but like that's his weapon. And now that I'm remembering correctly, I feel like it was like they took the actual weapon itself, not one of his, let's say, ammo bags full of lightning bolts. But also in Percy Jackson, the movie, he literally, like, someone picks it up, like Percy Jackson just holds it in his hand, which I'm pretty sure in real life would
probably vaporize
kill
you.
him instantly.
Yeah, Zeus has a lot of stocks in Zeus Martin.
What? I don't even get that reference.
Lockheed Martin.
What?
It's a weapons manufacturer, man. Anyway.
This was a horrible idea.
I'm a great learner. Everyone, I paid the most attention in history class you could possibly imagine.
New rule: I talk and you don't.
Yeah, I like this rule. I'm not going to obey it.
All right. Anyways, so the lightning bolt, imbued with the power of lightning, gives Zeus dominion over the sky, which again, I don't really understand because from what I understood, Zeus got the lightning bolt before he got dominion over the sky. Anyways, moving on. The lightning bolt is one of the few legendary weapons that is only used by Zeus. So, like, there are versions of the Poseidon or of Poseidon's trident that are used by other gods. Like, Poseidon is not the only god that uses a trident.
Okay.
Zeus is the only person or the only god that uses a lightning bolt. So,
pretty special, is.
I know, he feels very special. It is said that it is the most powerful and feared weapon in all of the heavens and the earth. It is sometimes depicted as a... Yeah, we already talked about that. Yeah. So it's honestly, like, at least to me, there was quite a few things that I was like, I don't really understand. But, you know, that's the... From pulling from 10 different websites, that is the best I could do. Now let's talk about the origin of it. And now this one was pretty clear. Like, luckily, every single myth, at least that I read, talks about this the exact same. So let's talk about the origin of Zeus's weapon, which I actually think is pretty cool.
Okay.
So Zeus's weapon comes from the Titanomachy. So in the beginning of the Titanomachy, the Titans were stronger than the gods because, believe it or not, the Titans were older, have more experience, and I guess they're just straight up stronger. And on top of that, there were more of them. So they were just absolutely wiping the floor with the gods. But like any immortal matchup, there was really no end point. So they were just kind of getting their booty kicked constantly.
Yeah, they were just losing fights, coming back, losing more fights, that kind of thing.
Correct. Yes. And so Zeus was like, stop that. And basically, Zeus was like, I need to find a way to win against a more powerful opponent. But, like, also at this time, don't believe for a second that Zeus was like, oh, I'm fighting a war against the Titans, so I can't have sex. That is not the case. Zeus was also multiplying his forces constantly. But he needed something else. So he goes to his aunt/wife. At this point, it wasn't clear if she was already his wife or not. It actually really doesn't talk about them ever being together. Like, there's no myth that was like, and they got married on this day. No. Like, they're just kind of mentioned. But anyways, he goes to her and he says, hey, I need to kill your brother and I don't know how to do it. So, like, help. And she's like, oh, easy. Go into the underworld, go to Tartarus and free the beings that he put away. And Zeus is like, bet. So he goes into Tartarus, and he frees Cyclops, which are, like, not the Cyclops from Percy Jackson that's, like, 10 feet tall or whatever. Like, 100-foot tall Cyclops.
Oh, damn, okay. Like, yeah. The big boy.
And something called and I need you to be quiet so I can focus when I try to pronounce this name. Okay?
Of course, I will give you my linguistic skills. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hype yourself up.
Okay.
Come
Okay. Hecaton Kiris.
You lost me.
So I'm just gonna call it a hecaton of meat. Because this is a giant with 50 heads and 100 arms.
Okay, that's a lot of meat. I get it.
And these things dwarf the Cyclopses, but basically same thing. And these things, according to what I read, some conflicting opinions here, were basically the things that roamed the Earth before the Titans. So like when Gaia and Uranus were the only existences, these monsters were what helped them forge the universe, basically.
Damn,
because the Cyclopses and the Hecatonner dudes,
hecaton of meat, yeah.
yeah, are forge guys. They like to make weapons, especially the Cyclopses.
Oh.
But they also obviously fight. So, anyways. So they were in Tartarus, and Zeus sets them free. Metis promised that they would fight on Zeus' side, and she was correct. But not only did they agree to fight with them, they were like, no. We're going to do this the right way. And they forged for Zeus, Zeus's lightning bolt, Poseidon's trident, and Hades' helm of darkness.
Oh.
Yeah. All three of the legendary weapons of the Pantheon came from these guys during the Titanomachy.
Okay, so side note.
Yes.
I actually didn't know Hades had a helm of darkness.
Oh, yeah. So I only have reference to this because, again, I didn't do any research into the other two, because obviously we'll do an episode on these guys, and I wanted to save it for that.
Yeah.
But in Percy Jackson, the helm of darkness basically allows Hades to basically pop up wherever there's a shadow or some sort of darkness.
Okay.
Anywhere in the universe.
Pretty in luck. Wow. Okay.
He can also basically cover people in darkness, so like basically blind them in a sense, and then somehow use it to control their minds. This thing is just crazy. It does a lot of stuff, at least in the books. So I don't know what it actually does. I'm interested to learn, but yeah, it's pretty nuts. And again, please, for everyone listening, give me a little bit of leeway because it has been at least a decade since I read the book that had that helm in it. So give me a few grains of sand here.
Some give him a step, like a step.
Yeah,
back.
maybe someone's gonna comment and be like, "That is not what the helmet does at all. You're an idiot." It's literally just a cool looking helmet.
he just wears it on days out.
Yeah, he's just edgy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He just likes the look of horns, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Dark horns.
Dark horns.
Dark horns. But yeah, so that's where his weapon comes from, which I thought was really, really cool. That's like probably my favorite part about reading about Zeus.
Yeah, I didn't know about the Hecatonamite and the Cyclops. These are new creatures. Well, not the Cyclops, obviously not the Cyclops, but the Hecatonamite. Never heard about these before.
Oh yeah, they're nuts looking. In the book, I hate to keep referencing the Percy Jackson books, but like, at least as far as like, other than researching this myth, that is where a lot of my interest came from. It describes them able to do this like basically spin attack, where they launch themselves like some sort of rocket spinning around, and all their fists do like a bunch of hits, and they're able to topple mountains and stuff like that.
I mean, look. Okay, just looking. You know what? We're gonna put up an image right here. We're gonna put up an image of what these things look like. That looks crazy to me. Like these things look insane. This looks like something you would fight in the original spins of God of War, right?
Did you? Yeah,
I'll send you the picture.
Because honestly, I didn't even look up a picture. But I was just imagining them, and yeah, that is not how I imagine them at all. But
that looks insane to me.
Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, those things with the help of that's what I imagine. Yeah.
That's okay. We'll put that one up. Yeah, that's like insanity. I can see how people could lose to this, maybe.
Yeah. Even Titans probably.
Probably Titans.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so anyways, long story short, Zeus kills his dad and all the rest of the Titans, cuts up his dad into tiny little pieces, and throws him into Tartarus. And says bye.
See, didn't know that either. So sometimes a foot will just drift by in the little river.
No, Tartarus is more like a prison in the underworld, where like the baddest of the bad goes.
Oh, they're separate.
Yeah, well, it's like a pocket inside the underworld. Yes,
Right, but separate, like not dimensions, but they're different things.
yeah, they are. Yes, the underworld is Tartarus is. It's like saying Guantanamo Bay is inside the United States. That's basically what we're talking about here.
Okay, yeah, that
That's
makes
where
sense.
that's where the Cyclops and the Hecatons were hanging out before Zeus went and rescued them.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, so there's really no even for gods and titans, there's really no getting out of there without someone else's help. So once you're put in there, it's kind of curtains for you. It's like the only place where gods, titans, monsters can't regenerate from. That's its purpose. Yeah.
Oh.
So once you're locked in Tartarus, it's like, I mean, obviously you can regenerate, like you're still alive, but you're not coming back from there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool topic for later. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Didn't know any of that.
Oh yeah, the underworld in general is super cool, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, moving on, back on track.
Sorry.
Focus.
I'm sorry. It's all so interesting. God.
Focus. We're gonna talk about Zeus's wives now. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is his wives, wedded in matrimony. I could not find a list because I don't think there's enough paper on the planet to speak about all the people that Zeus has bedded. I have some interesting ones, but this is about the wives. Okay?
I would like to ask a clarifying question.
Yes, please.
Is there a chance that there is a field of corn out there that was fertilized, per se, by Zeus?
Probably.
Have this feeling out there.
I have some interesting myths regarding his fertilization practices.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get to it.
Anyways, so I have them in order. So his first wife, Metis, was the first wife of Zeus. Crazy how that works. She was a Titan goddess of wisdom and counsel. In certain myths, depending on how you read this, it is said that Zeus was actually given the same prophecy that he and his dad were both given. And so instead of eating his children, Zeus ate his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that is why Metis is no longer a part of the pantheon. She, according to certain myths, got eaten by Zeus.
There's like generational problems here. Many.
Yes.
But
yes. Correct.
Okay. Anyway.
Moving on. Themis, or Themis, depending on how you pronounce that, is another Titan goddess associated with justice, law, and order. And she was the mother of the Titan goddess Horai, who is the goddess of seasons, and Moirai, the goddess of fates.
Okay.
Yep. I have no idea what happened to her, but moving on. Eurynome was one of the Oceanids, which is basically an ocean nymph. She was the mother of Charities, which was a regular god, which was the god of graces. Which I don't know what that means. But
okay.
I think I'm guessing that it's like, I'm thinking good manners. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what graces sounds like to me.
The mother of the graces of...
Yes.
Put your phone down at the table.
Correct, yes. Demeter, his sister, was one of the gods born before him, his older sister, actually, who was also eaten by his dad. She was the goddess of agriculture and fertility, and together they birthed Persephone, which is Hades' wife.
Oh.
Yeah, that when we get to Hades, that'll be an interesting one because I like Persephone. She's interesting. Anyways. Now this is a name. This name is a doozy. Number 5 is Mnemosyne. Mnemosyne. It's
Okay.
spelled Mnemosyne.
I actually know how to pronounce this one. Are you ready?
Okay,
You ready for
yeah.
your socks? Are your socks
I
on?
am, yes.
Okay, great. It's pronounced mnemosyne.
Is it actually?
It actually is.
That is insane. Anyways, Nemo was the Titan goddess of memory and the mother of the muses.
Dang, Nemo actually did turn into a girl. Anyway.
Moving on to number 6, the last wife before his current wife was Leto or Leto, like as in Jared Leto.
Okay, yeah, big old chin on this one. Gotcha.
Yeah, 100%. Was the mother with her and Zeus was the mother of Apollo and Artemis, which is the god of the sun and the god of the moon. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And then Hera, his final and most famous wife, was the goddess of marriage, childbirth, and the hearth, and also women.
Oh,
Enough. Last but
general?
certainly not least, but yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I had to learn that. I knew she was the goddess of the hearth. That's like her main thing. But I mean, if you think about it, it just kind of makes sense. It also makes sense, like, since she's basically the goddess of, like, nuclear family, why she's so pissed off that Zeus keeps cheating on her.
The goddess of white picket fence.
Yes. 1950s housewife. Hera.
The poor wine mom.
Yeah, except for I'm pretty sure that in this scenario she beats him.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
yes.
Every time he comes home in eagle form, she's like, so where were you?
You know that picture of or that video of the cat that's like, and it just like smacks the other cat in the head?
Yeah.
That's what I think of every time I think of Hera and Zeus.
That's nuclear family. Oh,
that is my favorite. One of my favorite lines from Epic the Musical is in the God Game song when Athena's like, he doesn't cheat on his wife, and Hera's like, release him.
she's so cocky about it too.
She's probably looking directly at Zeus like, release him.
I like to imagine everyone was side-eyeing him when she said that.
And Ares and Aphrodite both were like, ooh. Okay. That was good.
All right.
Yeah, so those were the wives. All 7.
Right. I honestly didn't know Demeter?
Well, I think could be more right than me. I don't honestly.
Who knows? They're Greek. I didn't know that she was ever married to Zeus. I knew of her existence because I've played the roguelike game Hades before, but I had no idea who she was.
Genuinely, I had no idea either. I genuinely had no idea that he married anyone but Hera.
News to me that he ate his wife, but it is what it is.
Are you really surprised though?
Not surprised. I'm just more shocked. I hadn't heard more about this culinary cuisine.
That is not how we talk about other people, Alec.
They're Titans. They're not people.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't mean that. That's not true.
Okay. All right, let's move on before we get ourselves in any trouble here. So on to notable children. Now I've separated this because in total, from what I could find, would you like to take a stab at how many children Zeus had? And again, these are very rough estimates. No, like in general, how many children he actually had, like of his own loins.
Okay. A bit of a serious guess. I'm actually going to think about this.
Okay.
I'm going to say like 20.
Okay. That's your final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
So I've separated this into 2 categories. Gods and mortals.
Oh.
You aren't even half right in one category.
Okay. All right. He's busy. I
Zeus
get
has given birth to 41 gods in total.
Oh.
And again, please keep this with a grain of salt. This is what I could find.
Okay.
And in total, mortals has given or has participated in the birthing of 52 mortal children.
Oh my. Okay, that's almost 100.
Together, he has had 93 children.
Oh my. It's a good thing he didn't give birth to the to the god or goddess of lawyers. He'd be drowning in child support. Honestly, you know what? With those numbers, there's a good chance a Greek person was just looking up in the sky and saw a lightning bolt like, Dad?
Oh. Okay, wait, pause. Where is it? He came to, and I'm going to read this verbatim. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
He came to Danae as a shower of gold, causing her to become pregnant with Perseus. He was like, man, that girl's hot. And he just turns into rain, and now all of a sudden, ha, you're pregnant.
It's a drive-by. It's just a small storm cloud passing over like, hey, baby, see you later.
And then she's like, Zeus, you never stay and cuddle. I was never even in your bed.
I did not bed you. I rained on you. That's solid evidence.
Zeus was the inventor of Make It Rain.
Oh, no. No. Is that what a golden shower is?
Alec, I think that's a little bit different. I think you need to ask your parents about that one. I'm not having that conversation with you.
Okay. All right. Center. Bring it back.
Okay. Back to the kids. So I've compiled a list of the notable children. So Zeus's god kids were Apollo, the god of the sun and music; Artemis, god of the moon and the hunt; Ares, god of war and violence;
Okay.
Athena, god of wisdom and battle strategy; Hephaestus, god of the forge; Aphrodite, god of love; Hermes, messenger of the gods.
Oh, so those
That
are the
is-
notable ones?
That's all the yes. So that's the 12 the gods that are his children of the 12 Olympian gods.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the pantheon.
Gotcha.
So I didn't list any of the minor gods, but there are quite a few. Moving on to the mortal. And I tried to pick the most popular ones that people would actually know who these are. 52. Quite a few to choose from.
Yeah.
So
we're not going to talk about like Herald and accounting, right? So
yeah, so this is actually really funny. According to certain myths back in the day, Alexander the Great was actually believed to be Zeus's son. And so, in the myths, he is the son of Zeus.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. He he was the king of Macedonia and later conquered the rest of the known world, basically all of Greece. And some people were like, how the heck does he do that? He must be a demigod. And so a rumor spread that he was a demigod of Zeus.
Huh. Okay. I actually never heard of that.
Yeah, so he's on the list. Helen, the queen of Sparta, was Zeus's daughter, and her mom was the goddess Nemesis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Heracles, otherwise known as Hercules. Now, there were actually two sons of Zeus with the name Heracles.
Okay.
But I have chosen the one that the movie was named after and everybody knows. Because the other one was not nearly as cool. Heracles' official title is the greatest of Greek heroes. He was born when Zeus was like, dang, girl, and went to Alcmene or Alcmene in the
Okay.
form of her own husband.
Oh, what a. Okay. Right.
Yep. And after Heracles, whatever, did all of his labors, which we'll talk about later, he actually became a god. So technically speaking, he's really in kind of both lists because he becomes a god.
Oh.
So,
You're
yeah.
telling me the Disney movie lied to me.
Yes, he did not give up godhood to save his girlfriend that he met weeks prior. No, he took that and probably slammed her face into the ground like a normal Greek.
What?
Yeah, he probably like pseudo chopped her right in the throat and threw her into the river Styx himself.
Man, free my man Hades. He was trying to look out for.
He was right about everything that he said about Hercules. These are ancient Greeks we're talking about. They weren't exactly great people. Orion, and this is my favorite son of Zeus, was a giant who was born in answer to the prayers of the childless Boeotian, Boeotian, Boiotian.
That be Boeotian? Might be Boeotian.
Boeotian. Okay, we're going to go with Boeotian. That sounds right. The childless Boeotian king, Kyrios, he was conceived by 3 gods.
Oh.
Zeus, Hermes, and Poseidon, who urinated upon a bull's hide and buried it in the earth to grow an earthborn infant.
I couldn't even consult a geneticist on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaia was involved? I don't...
you know? Yeah, Zeus got his grandma involved.
No.
That's where we're at. Yeah, no. You wanted to do this. No, you approved.
All these squares make a circle.
Luckily for you, that's the last children we're going to talk about.
Great. I don't need any more family ties.
Now we're going to talk about popular myths.
Okay.
Which, surprisingly, there were not as many as I thought there would be.
Really?
Yeah, there really wasn't. Like, most of the myths are about... Like, because think about mythology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can say, oh, like, if you were worshiping Zeus today, you'd be like, oh, Zeus, I'm going to go in a plane. Please protect me. Don't let lightning strike it or something.
Okay,
But, like, the myths of Zeus actually doing something... Like, think about in the Bible, right? How many stories of there are of God actually doing stuff versus people that worship God doing stuff?
Yeah, and then him, like, responding to that.
Correct. So, like, Zeus is probably taking place in a lot of things, but he himself is not the target of most myths.
Oh.
The biggest myth about Zeus is when he... Like, the biggest story is when he was born and the Titanomachy and all that. That's, like, his main thing.
I never considered that, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, so it was actually surprisingly hard to come up with popular myths for just Zeus. But anyways, one of the most popular myths is how Zeus and his siblings, Poseidon and Hades, decided who would control what part of the world. And so basically, after the way they did it is they kicked their dad's butt. They came up to the Mount Olympus, and they're like, all right, how we doing this? And one of them had the great idea to draw straws. And Zeus had the longest straw and decided he would be king and also control the sky. I guess Poseidon had the second longest one, ruling the ocean. And Hades was pissed off and went down to the underworld, taking what was left.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I mean, that's honestly, that's kind of what I expected, because I didn't assume that Zeus and Poseidon were like, "Hey, you're ugly, go away."
Yeah. No, they tried to do it fairly, I guess. So that's what we have. Next myth: Zeus abducted Europa. Which, would you like to guess what gender Europa was?
Surely, man.
No.
Full grown, 40 years old.
Although, Zeus didn't he wasn't picky. There are some stories about him and some dudes as well, but in this particular instance, no. He's not a man. Anyways, Zeus abducted Europa in the form of a bull, took her to the island of Crete where Zeus was born, and she bore him 3 sons:
Oh,
Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Sarpedon.
okay.
I like that name.
I like
That's what I'm gonna
Serpedon.
name. That's what I'm gonna name my next son, Sarpedon.
Serpedon, yeah. So you've got
Yep.
your current son, normal name, and then you've got Serpedon.
Yes. Well, remember, I wanted to name my son now Odysseus. The wife X named
Yeah, but you could still call them Odie. What are you going to call Serpedon? You call him like
Serp.
Serp.
It doesn't matter. Call him Don. You know, that's a normal name.
That's fair, actually. You know what? That's fair.
Leave me alone. All right. Next myth. Remember the golden shower, of course.
I didn't want to remember that. Yeah. But...
Next one is he came to Leda as a swan. Leda was not a swan.
Okay.
Why? She then later laid 2 eggs.
Are we sure she's not a swan?
And these eggs were full of full-blown gods.
God swan?
Huh?
God swan?
You know? And both eggs had twins. The first 2 were Helen and Polydeuces. And the second, and I'm sorry. They were immortal children, so they were gods.
Okay.
The other 2, Clytemnestra and Castor, were mortal. And those were actually her husband's children. So she carried all 4 or both eggs at the same time. One set was Zeus's and one set was mortals. By 2 separate dudes. She gave birth to them at the same time. 2 gods and 2 humans came out.
And we're sure she wasn't some type of bird.
We are 90% sure.
The high percentage for birds.
Yes. Some more. These ones were not exactly about Zeus, but I thought they were cool, and have Zeus in it, so you know it is what it is.
Okay.
When the Titan Prometheus stole fire to give to mortals, Zeus had him chained to a mountain where every day an eagle would come and eat out the Titan's liver, only for it to grow back every night and the process to start again.
Dang, man.
For all of eternity. You think Zeus was a little mad?
I feel like he was like only slightly peeved.
Like a little perturbed?
You know what? He's not in Tartarus. You know, that's what I'll say. Maybe this is worse.
I don't know if this was actually in Tartarus, but it is in the underworld. If it's not in Tartarus, it's close.
It's like right outside.
Yeah, it's right outside. So, and then the last one is kind of a doozy.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
This is Zeus being a little bit more perturbed. The Lydian king Tantalus was a son of Zeus who was favored by the gods. But he wanted to test their knowledge and power. He invited the gods to a dinner party and served them a dish made from his own son, Pelops. The gods knew immediately that the meat they were served was human flesh, except for Demeter, who was grieving for her daughter Persephone and had eaten a bit of Pelops' shoulder. The gods grew very angry at Tantalus's sacrilege. They put Pelops together again, so they gave him his life back. And they gave him an ivory shoulder to replace the one that had been eaten. Tantalus was punished in the underworld by having to stand up to his chin in a lake that would recede any time he moved to take a drink, and a tree overhead with delicious ripe fruit that would move away from him when he tried to reach up and grab one.
Look,
do you think that Zeus was happy?
I feel that Zeus maybe wasn't the happiest camper among the gods. But I'm not going to lie to you. I think you had that one coming. That one, you know what? That's not Zeus's fault. I'm an apologist now. I am a Zeus apologist. You've convinced me.
So yeah, that's Zeus. That's everything I got.
Honestly, there's a lot of stuff there. I knew there would be a lot, but there's a lot more stuff there than I thought there would be. I am actually a little bit more surprised that there's not more myths despite all the information, right?
Well, like, to be clear, Zeus does exist in more myths, but
Right.
like I didn't include the ones where it was like, oh yeah, this person did this and asked Zeus for this, and then a bird showed up, and now we're good.
Right. But I mean, like, not quite solo adventures, but things that directly affected Zeus. I mean, I guess he's
Yeah,
like Mr. High and Mighty, always on Olympus. Maybe not always on Olympus, maybe sometimes inside. But I just assumed
yeah.
that there would be like more. I just, eh?
I think, to be honest with you, I think that once we start getting into heroes and demigods and stuff like that, because like people like the underdog stories, right?
Mhm.
And like believing that there are these demigods walking around that do these feats of strength like Hercules, or bravery like Perseus, or all these different things allowed the people to feel better about themselves. And so I feel like way more was written
Mhm.
about them. I think the gods are kind of just like, in a sense, they're almost in the background as kind of forces of nature to give the heroes either aid or challenges to fight.
Probably that's actually a pretty good theory, I think. In terms of mythological writing, that's um honestly that just makes a lot of sense, really. I had never considered that angle.
Yeah, I doing research on Zeus, you really get the feeling that like you're thinking about an object more than a person.
Yeah, and then I
So,
mean, a lot of mythological talk, at least right now, is really talking about like how Greek gods weren't people. They didn't live people lives, so you can't really relate to them, you know?
correct.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's that's pretty much all I got.
all right, well, that was
That's Zeus.
Zeus. Um, honestly, very informative. I just thought it's cool. All right, so obviously we don't quite have the next topic picked out just yet, but
Oh,
we're
I do.
staying. Oh, okay. Well, I
But
see. I didn't.
I'm not gonna tell you this time,
Okay.
so that
Oh,
I can
oh,
make you guess next time.
oh. No. Please.
Yeah,
Okay.
I already actually started doing research on
Well, see. Okay. So some of us are in the dark. Some of us are in the underworld currently, on the outside of Tartarus, and some of us are just, chilling on a mountain, writing a script, looking down, pissing.
it. Yep.
All right. We'll see y'all next Wednesday, hopefully, as long as we get everything recorded and everything's good. All right.
See ya.
See ya.